Have you ever found yourself fading away from someone you truly liked? Perhaps someone you met, connected with, shared moments with, and then, without pronouncing any goodbye, you just stopped replying. You drifted. You ghosted. It might feel strange to say you ghosted someone you liked, because ghosting is usually spoken of in harsh tones, as a hurtful act, a rejection, a disappearance. Yet sometimes it happens not from dislike, but from something more complex, more subtle. In this video, we'll walk through the hidden layers of ghosting, especially when the person you're ghosting is someone you actually like. What's really going on beneath the silence? Why do we quietly vanish when we care? And what does that say about us, about connection, about fear, about being human? If you're here, maybe this touches you. Maybe you're the one who ghosted and you're wondering why. Or maybe you're on the receiving end and you're seeking understanding. Either way, this is a gentle exploration. Let's begin. First, let's define what we mean by ghosting. In the most common sense, ghosting is when one person abruptly cuts off communication. No message, no explanation, just silence. It happens in dating, but not only there. Friendships, acquaintances, professional relationships too. Someone you thought you were connecting with, and then, poof, they vanish. What's interesting though, what if you liked them? What if you wanted the connection, but you still pulled away? That's the paradox we're looking into. Because to ghost someone you like suggests something deeper. It's not just about lack of interest. It might be about fear, confusion, conflict, identity. And by exploring it, we can find insight on ourselves and on the silent psychology of human connection. Let's walk through 3 of the most common reasons people ghost even when there's genuine liking there. I'll share them as stories because you might recognize yourself in them. Reason 1. Fear of confrontation, of hurting someone you like. Imagine you like this person. You enjoy their company, but you also notice something doesn't feel right. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you're afraid of deeper commitment. You realize that coming clean would require a conversation. I'm not sure I can go further, or I don't feel ready for this. But the conversation itself feels heavy, vulnerable. You're not rejecting them because you dislike them, but because you dislike the tension, the awkwardness, the risk of making them sad. So instead, you choose silence. It seems less painful, less risky. Psychologists point out a key driver in ghosting is fear of confrontation. The irony is, silence meant to spare pain ends up causing more, because the other person is left guessing. You are left avoiding. In the end, your care for them becomes buried under your discomfort. Reason 2. Internal conflict and self-protection. Here's another story. You like this person, but you also notice something inside you shifting. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you have old wounds. Maybe you're realizing you don't have the bandwidth for further emotional investment right now. In short, you ghost not because you stopped liking them, but because you're protecting yourself. Maybe you can't open up. Maybe you're triggered by unknown depths. Maybe you're used to keeping your guard up. This is where attachment style, past emotional patterns come in. People with avoidant attachment who find emotional intimacy high risk are more likely to withdraw. Ghosting becomes a default self-preservation tactic. So you disappear, not from dislike, but from the tension of something deeper than you're ready for. Reason 3. Value mismatch, unspoken expectations, confusion of roles. And here's the third story. You like this person, they like you, but you might not see the relationship the same way. Maybe to them it's romantic, to you it's friendship. Maybe one is ready for the next step, the other is not. In the digital age, with dating apps, social media, endless options, the line between just a connection and something meaningful blurs. Ghosting sometimes happens because one person assumed less than the other. So you vanish, not because you hate them, but because in your mind you've already made a decision. This isn't going where I thought. And rather than clarify, you withdraw.
Let's go inward now. When you ghost someone you like, there's almost always an inner dialogue, silent, hurried, crowded. I want you to listen, as if you're observing yourself. I really like this person. They're kind. They laugh with me. I feel seen. And yet, something's off. I don't know if I can keep up. I feel vulnerable. I feel exposed. What if they want more than I can give? What if they ask me to open up, to commit, to be more than I feel ready for? And what if I disappoint them? What if I even disappoint myself? So, easier. Fade. Just quiet. They'll think I'm busy. I'll disappear. I'll spare the talk, the guilt, the vulnerability. That inner voice isn't always mean. It isn't always about being cruel. It can be deeply conflicted, love and fear entwined. You might like the other person, and you might fear them. Or rather, you fear what connecting with them might ask of you. Sometimes ghosting is a protective mechanism, ones that you learned long ago. Don't show too much. Don't risk it. Don't want to get hurt. And so, you ghost, even though you liked them. So what does ghosting someone you liked mean? For them? For you? For them, they may feel confusion, betrayal. What did I do? Did I push too hard? Was I not enough? Ghosting amplifies ambiguity. As one therapist puts it, it's not just a disappearance, it's a rejection without closure. They might internalize the silence as a verdict on their worth. They may imagine the worst. They may replay moments. And for you, you might feel relief at first. No confrontation, no messy conversation, but later, you might feel the weight of your silence, isolation, regret, a small window in your mind. What if I had been honest? Ghosting someone you like doesn't just say something about them. It says something about you. It says, I'm not ready. It says, I'm scared. It says, I don't want to face this. It also says, I care enough to connect, but I don't care enough to stay in discomfort. But here's the catch. That act might protect you now, but over time, it erodes something. Your capacity to stay with discomfort, to be honest, to finish what you start, to hold someone's feeling even when it's messy. And here's a question. If you keep ghosting because of fear or mismatch, what does that teach you about how you handle relation, commitment, vulnerability? So, you've recognized you ghosted someone you liked, or you might do so in the future. What can you do? How can you act differently, gently, honestly, but humanly? Step 1. Sit with your discomfort. When you feel the urge to disappear, pause. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? Fear of hurting them? Fear of being hurt? Anxiety about commitment? Name it. Recognize it. Because the better you understand why you want to ghost, the more conscious your decision becomes, instead of an impulsive fade. Step 2. Truthful closure, even by text. If you feel the pull to leave, send a message. Something simple, respectful. Hey, I've really enjoyed our time. I'm realizing I'm not ready for this connection to go further. I'm so sorry for the silence. You deserve honesty. I wish you well. Yes, it's possible they may not respond, but you'll have honored them and yourself with clarity.
Clarity matters. That way, you preserve dignity for both sides. Step 3. Reflect on your patterns. If this is a pattern, ghosting when you like someone, ask, what is the cost? What am I missing out on? What am I protecting? What am I afraid to feel? Therapists call ghosting a form of avoidance. When avoidance becomes default, the pattern repeats. You might discover you prefer falling out of relationships over navigating them. And that's insight. And insight invites change. Step 4. Practice vulnerability and minimal risk first. You don't have to plunge into deep intimacy overnight, but you can practice the small acts. A message when you're busy, checking in, sharing a real thought. If you fear being seen, practice being seen safely. If you fear being caught in something you can't sustain, practice opening enough to know what you can sustain and what you can't. Ghosting someone you actually like is not simply a dismissal. It's a story. It's your story and their story, tangled in the threads of liking, fear, uncertainty, courage, and avoidance. Maybe you didn't ghost because you stopped caring. You ghosted because you were afraid of what caring meant, because you weren't sure of the next step, because silence felt safer than the risk of being vulnerable. But now you know. You can see the motivations. You can pause before you vanish. You can choose differently. You can choose clarity. And if you were on the receiving end, if you were ghosted by someone you cared about, then this truth may soften the hurt. It wasn't simply that you weren't liked. It might have been that they weren't ready. Their silence didn't define your worth. Their fear defined theirs. We're all human. We all carry tender spots. We all connect, disconnect, connect again. What matters is not the perfect journey, but the honest one. So next time you like someone and you feel the pull to disappear, stop, breathe, and ask, what is this about? And maybe, just maybe, you'll answer, instead of ghost. Thank you for being present with me. Please take care of yourself and of those you like, because liking someone is a brave act, and staying present with it, that's even braver.